Hey everyone, today I'm really excited to start a 3-part video series on how to stop excessive or impulse shopping for good. Today's video is going to be focused on what you can do in the moment when you have that craving to shop, that urge to buy something, when you maybe see something scrolling online on social media and you're just a little bit tempted to put it in your cart, or you're in a real store and you're just itching to buy something. I want to explain really quickly though where I'm coming from in these videos. I'm by no means saying this is the only way, the one size fits all. You can just take tidbits that you think might apply to you. I also come from a place of having a PhD in clinical psychology. I've done a lot of research in psychology. I've studied it. I've given therapy. I'm not currently a licensed practitioner because I kind of shifted careers. Admittedly, the specific approach hasn't been studied by like a randomized controlled trial. So these are just my ideas derived from my own experience with reducing my shopping and my knowledge of psychology. I also have to say that I'm not somebody who is perfect about this. I'm still on my minimalism journey, but it's about reducing that impulsive shopping that goes against your core values and what you really want to be doing with your life. It's when that shopping becomes excessive and just too much of a time and money suck when you'd rather be spending your time doing other things. That's the type of shopping I'm addressing here today. So today I want to talk about the 3 Ds to stop impulse shopping. The first D is delay, and I think this one I've heard in a lot of different places, but it really works. If you just find a way in the moment when you're tempted to buy something, decide on a period of time that you'll wait before you buy it, you may find that you don't want to end up buying it. And if you do still want to buy it, at least you know that you waited the time and you weren't acting on some momentary emotion. A lot of shopping is actually driven, I think, by emotions and that reinforcement, that wonderful feeling we get, the reduction of negative emotions that we feel when we purchase something. And often that anticipation of the thing or the anticipation of purchasing something is probably more powerful than the actual act of buying it itself. I did a lot of research on eating, and the reward that we feel with eating often happens in anticipation of actually eating. And I think there's a similar phenomenon with shopping. At least I've noticed it subjectively, that there's a lot of anticipation and excitement before I buy something, but then once I buy it, the happiness goes down. And so I really think that if we just delay and kind of put off that anticipatory excitement and are able to ride out whatever perhaps negative emotions we might be feeling right now, maybe later that anticipation might not be quite so heightened. We're kind of in a different place emotionally, mentally. Maybe we realize, oh, I don't really need that item after all, and we can move on. Delaying is something you find in a lot of behavior therapy protocols that address reducing some kind of behavior. So it's probably a really effective thing to do also for shopping, that if you just put off buying that thing a little bit longer, it might be a huge benefit to you. Often I will have the 24-hour rule. I do think waiting a month is great. That's an ideal, and putting it on a wish list and intentionally purchasing something maybe at the end of the month if you really want to, if you've been successful at waiting. But I do think for those really impulsive, emotional, in-the-moment purchases, just even delaying 24 hours can make a huge impact. I've really found that to be the case. Sometimes I'll even forget about the item altogether, and then a week later I'll remember it and think, wow, I'm so glad I didn't buy that. The second D in reducing that shopping in the moment is to distract. And this is something you can do in the process of while you're delaying. Distract, focus on something else, do something enjoyable or fun that improves your mood. Call a friend, go on a walk, watch a fun movie, play some happy music and do a little dance. Whatever it is to get your mind on something else, I think can really help you withstand that urge to shop. If the shopping is a product of your emotions, if it is true that you're shopping based on a momentary, fleeting feeling, maybe you had a bad day, maybe you're going through a rough patch, if you're shopping based on that negative feeling, and if you're able to improve your mood in some other way, then that urge to shop will reduce. It's so easy when you're feeling blue or down to just use your money to buy something to make you happy. But in the long run, will that really make you happy? Probably not. You'll be down money and you won't be able to save up for that bigger life purchase or goal that you want to make. I also think it's important to remember probably the distraction activity will never be as good as the actual shopping. Like, it might not make you feel as good and as distracted as just making the purchase, But bear in mind that you're doing something for yourself. You're taking care of yourself by delaying and distracting. You're not just acting on momentary emotions, and you're living according to your values. And so even if that distracting thing isn't quite as good, it's probably going to feel better than doing absolutely nothing. The third D is to defame. And this is kind of a weird word for it, but what I mean by this is to find something negative about the item that you're going to purchase. No matter what the item is, there's always something imperfect about it. Sometimes we can build something up in our heads as the dream ideal item, but just like no human is perfect, no item is perfect. And so you just need to take the time to pick it apart. Think about it. What do you not like about the item? What could be better? Really deconstruct that item and find out what the flaws are. Maybe it's as simple as, I don't think I'll end up using it as much as I think I will. Maybe it's that the material isn't quite right. Maybe it's that that item might look good in the context of this ad, but it might not really look that good in my life or with my style or what I have in my closet. Maybe it's just really expensive. Maybe it's something to keep in mind. Oh, maybe this is the dream item, but it is so expensive and I could be putting that money elsewhere. Maybe the color isn't quite right. Maybe the texture isn't right. I think it's just about finding some way to defame the item, to make it feel just that little bit worse, if you know what I mean, to make it not appealing and to shift it from being, ooh, this ideal, exciting thing to, maybe it's not as great as I thought. I think once we shift our brains to thinking of it in a different way, we're able to take more power in that moment and not just give in to that temptation to buy something. I've used this so many times, and I guarantee no matter what the item is, there is something wrong with it. Also, not to mention, how many times have you purchased something online, it comes to your house, and it is not what you imagined? I know recently when there was this big chunky boot trend, I bought numerous kind of chunky boots that once I put them on my small tiny foot, it just looked weird and it didn't fit in with my vibe. And I think often we romanticize something to being this perfect thing, but once we get it, it's just not as good as we thought. So is there a way that you can foresee what it is that's going to be wrong with that item? Or even if it is a really good item, magnify what it is that could be better and focus on that. And it might just lose some of its power over you and reduce your desire to shop. So that is the first video on this set of 3 videos on eliminating impulse shopping. Again, the 3 Ds are delay, distract, and defame. Doing those things in the moment, I really find helps me move on and not make as many purchases. Just slowing down that process, thinking about other things, and finding out what's wrong about that item allows me to pivot and to focus on other things in my life that are more important. Again, I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. I still sometimes make purchases that I later regret, but I do think it just reduces the frequency, and that way I can just shop more intentionally and hopefully move a bit more towards minimalism. Let me know if you have any thoughts on these 3 steps in the comments below. And if you ended up liking this video, hit the thumbs up button. You can subscribe below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.